Thank you for saving me, Alicia. I don't know what happened to that meeting invite, but it was gone.
Oh, no worries.
So the first file is going to be deferred. Is that what I understand? Are they carrying on?
Yeah, that was a file this morning.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
We are good to start whenever you are.
All right. Well, I'll call the meeting to order. It's 1 o'clock. Thank you for all of those joining us. Okay, here we go. So this is a public meeting concerning proposed zoning bylaw amendments pursuant to Section 34 of the Planning Act. We have two files to deal with today. The first is C23-24, Dennis and Jackie Groves, and the second is C24-24, John M.S. Martin. Any person or public body is entitled to attend the public meeting and make written or oral submissions in support of or in opposition to any of the proposed zoning bylaw amendments. Written comments should be submitted to the clerk, Lindsay Green. Please be aware that planning reports will be presented to council when the applicable bylaw is presented for consideration at a council meeting. No person or public body shall be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal unless, before the bylaw was passed, the person or public body made oral submissions at a public meeting or written submissions to the council, or, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the person or public body as a party. Anyone wishing to file a notice of appeal is encouraged to seek legal advice on your appeal rights given the recent changes to the Planning Act because of Bill 185. The first zoning bylaw amendment is file number C23-24, Dennis and Jackie Groves. The purpose of the application is to address zoning compliance resulting from a proposed consent, file B4-24, to transfer a 4.04 hectare parcel from the retained lands known as 212475 Southgate Side Road 21 to the existing lot to the south. The lot line adjustment increases the area of the lot to the south to 11.8 hectares and decreases the lot area of the retained lot to 3.75 hectares. The effect of rezoning is to address zoning compliance resulting from the proposed lot line adjustment between the subject lands and the lands to the south. The location of the subject lands are at Concession 13, Part Lot 33, RP 16R 8317, Part 3, Geographic Township of Proton, Township of Southgate. The civic address is 212475 Southgate Side Road 21. May I please have confirmation from the clerk that proper notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act?
Yes, through you, Chairman. Proper notice was given in accordance with the act. The sign was posted on the property and notice was sent within 120 meters of the subject property.
Most excellent. Thank you, Lindsay. I'll now have our planner to review correspondence received from commenting agencies. Victoria, you're our planner this morning, it looks like. So the floor is yours. Welcome.
Perfect. Good morning, or sorry, good afternoon. Okay, so Bell Canada provided no concerns. Enbridge Gas as well, no objections, but reserved the right to amend or remove conditions. Township Public Works asked that a 3-meter road widening is required on Southgate Side Road 21. And no concerns from Grey County as well, provided positive comments are received from the Conservation Authority. And we received some late comments from the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority after publishing the agenda, but they are available on the township website for review. They had no concerns, but identified that a large area of the property is within the approximate screening area. So they asked the applicant obtain written permission from the SVCA prior to any development that may be conducted within the regulated area. And no public comments received.
Great. Thank you, Victoria. Are there any questions or discussion from council at this time? Okay, not seeing any for now. I'll now ask if the applicant or agent is present. Please identify yourself by stating your name for the record. Would you like to make any representation on your application? I see Mr. Davison has joined us. Welcome, Ron. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, good afternoon. I shall be very brief with this. This morning, the Committee of Adjustments, the Committee of Adjustment approved the consent that's associated with this. So this afternoon, we're dealing with the zoning bylaw amendment. In short, it's a lot line adjustments. Mr. and Mrs. Grove own about an 8-hectare parcel of land. The back half, it used to be farmed, and now all Mr. Groves does every Saturday is mow lawn for several hours. The guy next door owns a parcel of similar size. He just bought the property. He wants to start farming his lots and the back half of the Grove property. It's not going to make for a large farming operation, but hey, at least somebody's doing something with the land. So it's definitely a win-win from both landowners' perspective. Required as part of the severance is a zoning bylaw amendment to reflect the fact that we're making this one lot a little bit smaller. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Is there anyone present who would like to make a submission in support of this application? And conversely, is there anyone present who would like to make a submission in opposition to this application? Not hearing any. Are there any further questions or discussion from council? Okay. Oh, Martin, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. This question might be to Ron. Hi, Ron. How are you?
Good, thank you.
With the consent this morning from the Committee of Adjustment, I just had a question. I'm looking at page 26 and page 28 of your report with the maps for the EP and the hazard. I get confused on these areas sometimes. I don't mind admitting that. They are different when you look at the maps, but you said this morning that there has been, the back area has been farmed, and there will be a new development on this. And Victoria has just mentioned that the Conservation Authority wants permission if there's development in their regulated land. How much of these lots are actually going to be for that development? And I know you can farm hazard land, but it's classed as EP too. So can you confirm the difference for me there, if you don't mind, Ron?
Sure. Yeah, I know that gets confusing for everybody, probably because it means the same thing. Planners, we get mapping from the Conservation Authority. We call it hazard land mapping. And then every municipality decides what they want to call it in their zoning bylaw or official plan. Some people call it EP for environmental protection. Some call it environmental hazard or EH. Others call it hazard land. It all means the same thing. The lands that are subject to this consent application, that is the back half of the Grove property, will not be developed per se. They will simply be farmed. That is permitted. That does not require the blessing of anybody. It doesn't require a development permit. The parcel that is benefiting from this lot line adjustment, that's the property to the south. It's vacant right now. I have no firsthand knowledge of this. I'm not working for that guy, but I believe he wants to build a house on his property, and he may have had another application in as well, but I'm not entirely sure. So if he develops on his property and if he's not in the right area, he will require permission from the Conservation Authority. Does that answer your question? Perfect.
Looks like it does. Very good. Thanks, Ron. Any other questions or discussion from council? Okay, not hearing any. We'll move on to the next application. Thanks, Ron, for being here.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. The file number is C24-24, John M.S. Martin. The purpose of the rezoning is to allow expansion of an existing on-farm diversified use on site to the maximum 750 square meters of floor area. This is going to be a metal workshop in office, or is a metal workshop in office, and remove a current zoning restriction of maximum 4 employees other than residents of the property. The effect of the rezoning is to permit an office addition to the existing workshop with no zoning restriction on the number of non-resident employees in the operation. The location of the subject lands, concession 10, part lot 23, RP 17R1000, part 1, geographic township of Proton in the township of Southgate. The civic address is 146024 Southgate Road 14. May I please have confirmation from the clerk that proper notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act?
Yes, through you, Chair Milne, proper notice was given in accordance with the act. The sign was posted on the property and notice was sent out to neighboring properties.
Most excellent. Thank you, Lindsay. I'll now have our planner Victoria to review the correspondence received from commenting agencies and the public. Victoria.
Thank you so much. Okay. Bell Canada and the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority had no concerns. Again, we received the SVCA comments after the publishing of the agenda, so they can be reviewed on our website. Enbridge Gas had no objections, but note that they reserved the right to amend or remove development conditions. Township Public Works, there's an existing commercial entrance and safe access can be provided, so no concerns. And Grey County asked that provided D6 guidelines can be addressed, county staff have no concerns and no public comments received.
Very good. Thank you, Victoria. Any questions or discussion from council at this time? Okay, not seeing any for now. I'll now ask if the applicant or agent is present. Please identify yourself by stating your name for the record. Would you like to make any representation on your application? Okay, not hearing anyone. Is there anyone present who would like to make a submission in opposition to this or in support of this application? Is there anyone wishing to make submission in opposition to this application? Any further questions from council? Martin.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Brian. More of a comment, really. I was looking at this and on part B of all the forms and what have you, actually page 44, item 10, the applicant just say to modify current zoning to permit the maximum shop they're allowed and delete the 4 employees and to permit unlimited employees. The shop size limits the employees already. If they have to keep putting an application in to change that, why don't we just, is there some way as the planning, can we just strike that and keep that unlimited people just for the benefit of the applicants to come? Is that something we could look at, or is that allowed by the province? I don't know. It just seems if he's coming forward to say, I want to do a zoning amendment because the business is growing, I need people, but I can only hire so many. We went through this before, it was only 3 and including the owner. So is there some way, can we change that just for ease of these people in getting stuff? And
I'm going to say we can change anything we want, but I'm going to ask Victoria,
Well,
or I see Ken has his hand up, so I'll ask Ken to respond to that, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Sorry, I'm doing this at a conference, so I'm trying to figure out how to work this on my iPhone.
We can see you and work you good.
Awesome. Okay. So through Your Worship, one of the things we have to keep in mind is that the provincial policy statement will set the framework for on-farm diversified uses. I will be completely honest. I'm going off of half of a coffee and being at a conference. I don't happen to recall off the top of my head whether there are exact limitations. I see Bill's on the call. Maybe he might be able to confirm it, but so long as we're operating within the lens of what the provincial policy statement is suggesting for on-farm diversified uses, then we can move the number up or down, provided that framework, that we're working within that framework. I know that we have talked to you, council, about going and looking at on-farm diversified uses and doing an amendment to the zoning bylaw so that you're not having to do these one-offs anymore. So that will probably be a piece to the puzzle, I would think. I'm not sure if Bill wants to add anything, but we can certainly look at it for sure.
Bill, welcome. I see you're
Hi.
there. That's good.
Yeah, just in support what Ken's saying, and through you to the councillor. This is one of the more unique ones that I've seen in that it had that limit on number of employees. Most of them don't have that I've dealt with, or Victoria and I have dealt with in the last year or so. So that's why in this case they had to apply for a zoning amendment, because when they got it, I think it was 2015 or maybe not that long ago, but when they got it in 2015, the council at the time felt like it needed a restriction on non-resident employees. So he wanted to eliminate that requirement. That's why he needed it. But it's unique as far as the dozen or more I've seen in the last year, as far as restrictions on employees. And then the rest of what Ken said is true, that if and when council chooses to allow some things as of right, then that will further eliminate the need for applications such as this.
Excellent. Does that answer the question, Martin? All right. Barb, please. Oh, I see your hand's gone now.
Thank-
Is that
Thank you, Chair Milne. And I just wanted to clarify, I think Bill touched on it quite well, is in the past, we limited the number of employees. But since we have not been limiting the number of employees because it's already on the record as being a condition, Bill explained it very well. Since that time, they can have it removed. We also allow for the shop to be increased in size to the maximum and reduce the outside storage now too. But previous conditions were such that we did limit it.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion from council? Okay, not seeing any. I'll declare this public portion of the meeting adjourned at 1:06. Barb, you have a question? Oh, no. I haven't adjourned just yet. At 1:06.